Hi, this is Richard Campbell from .NET Rocks. I'm here at Dev Connections, the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I'm sitting with Scott Hunter, who's on the ASP.NET team. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, Richard?
So I just heard the craziest thing at a keynote, that ASP.NET is open source?
We're open sourcing MVC, web pages, and web API.
Wow,
So.
That's amazing. Now, I hate to say this. I mean, I'm a fan of open source, and I've loved MVC and NuGet and just seeing the sort of visibility into the projects. That's been great. But what does this mean for ASP.NET going forward?
I think it means we're going to grow even faster. So one of the things that we like to tell people is, a lot of folks look at open sourcing as a de-investment in something. Mm-hmm. And in our case, the ASP.NET team is bigger today than it ever has been in the history of the company.
Wow, that's amazing, because it's a mature product in a lot of ways. 4.5, like we've come a long way with this thing already.
But web apps are changing. The web app today, which is the server-focused web application, is slowly changing over to the client-focused web application. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing our resources move towards web API. You're going to see us work on client-side work in the future. So we'd like to take the same experience we have today if you're a server-side developer and build that for a client-side developer in the future. I don't know how many years away that is, but that is the area. We want to make that a transition that's smooth for our customers.
So open source now. So that means I can check stuff in for ASP.NET.
Do you write good code?
Well, I don't know if it's that good. Granted, ASP.NET's written, it's mostly C++, right?
VB.
It's all VB. Okay, excellent. That's right. I've always thought that. And it's definitely had days where I was looking at the pipeline going, a VB guy did this.
We're going to move to Erlang in the future, but one thing that's interesting about the process is the process really hasn't changed. Even though we're OSS, if you want to contribute something to the project, if you go to our website and read the contribution rules, you've got to format your code the same way we format the code. You've got to write unit tests the same way we write unit tests. Whatever you check in has to match the roadmap that we have. If you couldn't just come out with some crazy thing out of the blue that is not the direction that the product's going in. Now you can influence us. Obviously each time we release a new version of our product, we're going out and asking our customers, what areas do you want us to focus on, and that won't change. But we just wouldn't take a random check-in. So if you check code in, what would happen is one of the developers at Microsoft would actually look at the code, see if it meets our coding guidelines, see if it has unit tests, sees if it's the same quality of the code that we would have written internally. If it is, we'll take it. If it's not, we would send it back to you and tell you why we sent it back to you.
Right. Okay, well, but the interesting idea that anybody can contribute to this if they can meet the standard, essentially, and meet the plan.
Yeah, and I hope that we will see those contributions. I think we will. I think it's going to really grow the product.
Now, what's the reaction of the corporate world going to be around this? Because, this changes the rules somewhat.
As I just said, I think that because we're not changing the process, Microsoft is still gating all the code. We're looking at all the code being submitted to us first before we approve it. No different than if you're a junior developer in our team or a senior developer in our team. It's the same exact process. I think our enterprise customers should feel that we're still controlling it and we're still driving it in the direction we want to. And at the same time, it will still ship as part of the .NET framework. It will still ship as part of every Visual Studio release. It'll still get the same support if you call CSS. If there's a security problem, we'll patch it via Windows Update, just like we would today. So nothing has really changed if you're a corporate customer, other than you might see, us iterate faster than we have in the past.
And I guess that's one of the thoughts. Is what are we getting from this? Is it going to increase the rate of change because there's just more contribution going on?
That's our hope. It's too early for me to tell, but looking at NuGet, we do see contributions from NuGet. One of the most interesting things I've seen from NuGet is, in the past, the way Microsoft worked was we had a PM team, a QA team, and a dev team. The only team that actually checked in code was the dev team. In the NuGet case, well, the test team can check in code, the PM team can check in code, the dev team can check in code. And so the OSS thing also works internally as well, which means anybody on the team now, you don't have to be part of the dev team, anybody inside has the ability to work on the code as well.
So there's different ways to contribute in different roles.
Exactly.
I find that really interesting, and I've seen this in other open source projects, is you get that different set of minds just come at code in different directions and you end up with a better product.
NuGet's really interesting. We have one of the people in the NuGet team, his name is Drew Miller. He used to be part of the QA team. He's now part of the dev team.
Pulled him across.
Pulled him across because he was contributing so much into the open source effort on NuGet that he ended up making the transition to dev.
The security side of this is really interesting too, because you're exposing how ASP.NET works to the world in pretty deep detail. I mean, does that add vulnerability to us, or does it decrease the vulnerability?
I think it decreases. I mean, anytime you're letting the public check your code, I think us keeping it closed source and not having the public being able to see it makes it scarier to me. I mean, but let's be honest. I mean, we've been shipping the code for MVC since 2009, so this is not something that's new. It's already been going on for a couple of years.
Right. And in theory, another said, more eyes are better. If they can see these things, and if there is something out there, they're going to find it and fix it.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Well, you entered an interesting world. I'm excited for you. Excited for me. Like, you know, I do a lot of work. I'm just an ASP.NET MVP. This affects me too. But yeah, great times.
Thanks. It's going to be a fun next year.
Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.